this how-to video, we want to look at how to use BIDMAS and formula. Welcome to this how-to video. BIDMAS is the order that we have to do multiple sums in. It's an order of operations. The four operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. But what does BIDMAS mean? Well, the B of the BIDMAS stands for brackets. If you get a sum that's inside a bracket, then you need to work out the sum inside the bracket first. I stands for indices. Indices is a small number, often a 2, sometimes a 3, that is in the top right hand next to a larger number. What that indices means is that you take the large number, in this case the 3, and you multiply it by itself. 3 times 3, which equals 9. Don't multiply it by 2. Division. We know what division is, multiplication. Division and multiplication are the complete opposites of each other. So sometimes we have to be able to do the multiplication before we can do the division. Because we can remember we can only divide one number by one number. We can't divide one number by two numbers. Addition and subtraction. And again, those are opposites of each other. You need to follow the BIDMAS rule to calculate formulas, which we're going to look at in a second. As you work through the BIDMAS rule, if you can't do something for one step, then you move on to the next. We'll look at a couple of examples. In this example here, we've got this particular sum, 3 plus 8 multiplied by 4 plus 6 in brackets divided by 5 minus 2. So we're going to approach this sum with the BIDMAS rule in mind. So B, brackets, we've got a bracket there, which is 4 plus 6. So the answer to that is 10. We then rewrite the sum, 3 plus 8 times, we've done the bracket, we've got 10, divide 5 minus 2. Now we look at the sum again. We've done the bracket, we look for I, indices. Is there an indices? No, there isn't, but there's a division, D, 10 divided by 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So we rewrite the sum, 3 times 8, plus 8 times 2 minus 2. That's what the sum now looks like. M is the next letter of BIDMAS, which is our multiplication there. 8 times 2, which is 16. We rewrite the sum. 3 plus 16 minus 2. A is the next letter of BIDMAS, which stands for addition. 3 plus 16, which is 19. 19 minus 2 is equal to 17. So you can see what we've done. We've gone from all this big sum, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers and 5 operations. We've got it down to 2 numbers and 1 operation, which is what maths is all about. Look at this example. We've got 2 sums in brackets separated by a divide sign. As we've said, we can only divide one number by one number. So this division is probably going to come towards the end of this particular sum. So we need to treat this as 2 separate sums. So I'm just going to put an imaginary line down the centre of the page. And I'm going to work out the left hand side sum first. I'm going to work out the right hand side sum after that. So we look at the first sum, B brackets. Yes, we've got some brackets. Inside the bracket, we've got 2 sums. We've got 9 minus 3 times 2. What we also have to note here is that there's a little indices, but that's outside of the bracket. So that means that we have to solve the bracket first. So inside the bracket, we apply the BIDMAS rule. No indices in the bracket, there's no division in the bracket, but there's a multiplication, 3 times 2. That becomes a 6. We rewrite the sum. Then I'm only concentrating on this left-hand side. In the bracket, we've still got the bracket because we've still got 2 numbers in there. Remember, we're only looking for one number. 9 minus 6 is 3. The brackets have now disappeared, so that means the indices goes next to that 3 there. So now we've got 3 with the little indices. 3 times 3, 9. We've got ourselves down to one number on the left-hand side of this sum. We move across to the right-hand side. The right-hand side is a bracket. It only contains one sum, 10 divided by 5. The answer to that is 2. We can then bring that right the way down to the bottom. 9 divided by 2 equals 4.5. The way to solve these BIDMAS questions is to use step-by-step, one step at a time methods and keep rewriting the sum as you work your way through. We're going to look at how BIDMAS is used in formulas, and this is a formula using a symbol. This symbol here means the square root of something. The square root of a number is a value that when multiplied by itself gives the number. For example, 4 times 4 is 16. So a square root of 16 is 4. 4 times 4. So this is a typical kind of question that we're going to get. What is the value of t where a equals 10 and b equals 8? And as you can see from our question here, t is equal to the square root of a squared minus b squared. A stands for 10. 10 squared means 10 times 10. 10 times 10, which equals 100. Minus b squared. B is an 8. 8 times 8 is 64. So now we've got that t is equal to 100, or sorry, the square root of 100 minus 64. 100 minus 64 is 36. Square root of 36 is 6. T equals 6. 6 times 6 is 36. This is in a question similar to this question here. This is Tommy, who has a fixed call-out fee of £40 plus an hourly rate of £18. He uses this formula here to work out the cost of any job. T is the total cost of the job. H relates to the number of hours that Tommy's worked. How much would Tommy charge a customer for a job that took him 4 hours? T, total, is equal to 40. That's the fixed call-out fee. Plus 18. That's the hourly rate. And the H is 4. There's the 4. So we substitute the letter H for the number 4. Now, as it stands, that formula doesn't make a lot of sense. T equals 40 plus 18, 4. What is actually missing from that particular formula? In this gap here, the gap that's between the 18 and the H, is a multiplication sign. It will always be a multiplication sign. That's the thing to look out for. That's the key thing to look out for in these kind of questions. Numbers and letters together, a little multiplication sign separates them. Now we can do that particular sum. We apply the BIDMAS rule because we've got 3 numbers and 2 operations. are no brackets, there are no indices, there's no division, but there's a multiplication. 18 times 4. That's going to give us 72. 40 plus 72 is 1, 1. T, the total, 112. In this case, 112. That's why it's important to use BIDMAS when you're working with formulas. In an exam style question, you get something that looks a little bit like this. There's our formula, K equals P divided by 2.59 M. We've got K equaling the population density, P is the population, and M is the land area. And we're going to compare Russia's land area with Canada's land area. We've already been told that Canada has a land area of 3.57. We need to see if Russia is bigger. So we're going to use this formula. K equals P divided by 2.59. Let's change those letters for numbers. K equals, P is here, 143.9 divided by 2.59 M, 6.593. And again, in that gap between the 2.59 and the M, in this gap here, goes our multiplication sign. So we apply the BIDMAS rule. But the BIDMAS rule says that we need to divide before we do multiplication. But again, we can't divide one number by two numbers. So we must do the bottom of the sum first. We must do the multiplication first, which is 2.59 multiplied by 6.593. So that's going to give us a bottom number, 17.07. Rewrite the sum, 143.96. We've done nothing with that number at the moment, so it stays the same. So now we've got 143.96 divided by 17.07, which equals 8.4. So we've used the BIDMAS, we've changed letters for numbers, we've done it step by step. We've had to bend the BIDMAS rule slightly because obviously, like we said, we can't divide one number by two numbers at this stage here. So we had to do the multiplication first, and we've managed to get ourselves an answer of 8.3. Further practice on this topic, you can see the relevant section in the Functional Skills Maths Level 2 Study and Test Practice book, or you can find the BIDMAS workbook and resources on the One file in the Maths